Hello y'all, and welcome to YoungFolk Knits. Today I want to share all about my plans for making this winter. Some knitting, some sewing, and some spinning. Hello y'all, and welcome back to YoungFolk Knits. My name is Casey, and on this channel I like to share all about my love for fiber arts. So I'm mainly a knitter, but I also share about my sewing, spinning, sometimes crochet, and really whatever other crafts I might be getting up to at the moment. I also sometimes share a little bit about living on a small farm here in Arkansas, where my husband, myself, and our children are beekeepers. We love to have gardens and chickens and animals, and to be able to spend time outdoors here in the foothills of the Ozarks. So if any of that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any future video content. It has been a crazy week. We've had a lot going on, and I really don't have any knitting to share, but I have been very much wanting to chat a little bit about my plans for the winter of 2023 into 2024 and what I had been planning to get up to. I may not be able to do all of it, but I definitely have some plans, some thoughts, some goals, and just some things that I would like to be able to do if it works out. And so I thought I would share with you those patterns and those yarns. I actually have a few different crafts I want to talk about. I have some knitting plans, I have some sewing plans, and I have some spinning plans. So I'm going to share all about those today. So last week we had a bit of a traumatic event happen. I'm just going to briefly touch on what's been going on this week, and then I'll get straight into the knitting. So fast forward a couple seconds if you want to skip this next part. But my dad, who I love very much, was riding his horse. He is a cattle rancher, among other things. He also trains horses, and he had a new horse that he was getting on, and the horse did throw him and threw him into a fence. So because of that, he broke his back and he lost multiple organs from that due to multiple emergency surgeries that they had to perform. He is one tough guy. He's physically very strong as well as mentally very tough guy. We have every hope that he is gonna pull right through and make a recovery. But yes, it's gonna be a long road to that recovery. And that is what I have been up to this past week, is trying to be with my dad in the ICU and to take care of him. So if I am slow in responding to emails and messages and comments, which I greatly appreciate. I love every time y'all comment on my video. I read them. So thank y'all so much for your patience and understanding while I get some of all this other life stuff sorted out. All right, on to the fun things. Let's chat about my knitting plans for this winter. I do have a lot of things on my needles currently, including finishing up a couple of test knits, and I'm not going to include that in these plans. One of them, as you know, from the last video is a test knit sweater for Alicia Plummer, and it's a beautiful top-down raglan shaped sweater that I am knitting in this Noro Madara yarn, and this is the color 22. So I definitely am planning on finishing all of that stuff up. And then there's quite a few things that I have really been thinking I would love to work on, and that's something that I'm trying to do a better job of, is maybe even not just signing up for a test knit because it's something new and I want to make it right now, which there's nothing wrong with that if that is fun for you. Obviously it's fun for me. But also thinking about, you know, next 2 weeks from now, what am I going to want to be knitting on? Am I going to want to have the choice of picking up anything I want to at that moment to knit on? And if so, maybe I should not sign up for as many test knits and instead knit it when the pattern is released. I always say that though, and I never follow through. So I have some accessories, I have some garments, and I have a little bit of all the categories. I think I'm just gonna talk about them as I think of them, and we'll come to what we come to when we come to it. So one of the first things I'm very excited to cast on this winter is the new Artist Shawl, which is a pattern by Natasha Hornby, and it's a lovely mosaic knit shawl pattern. I love the fact that it uses multiple colors. Often mosaic knitting utilizes 2 colors. I really like the fact that this shawl, you're going to be changing colors throughout it. And I think that Natasha picked out some of the most beautiful colors for her original sample. So she used Lichen and Lace, which is, I believe, a Canadian yarn company. And it is a sport weight base that she used, a singles sport weight base. And from all the research I did and from asking multiple knitters who have worked with it before, it is a very rustic base. So they compared it to multiple different things for me. It sounds like it's a lot like Lopi yarn, and this Textlet Lopi I really can't use and can't wear. So I was very tempted to get a kit from the original yarn dyer, but I think that it would just be a little bit too itchy around my neck. So because of that, I ended up going with Sonder Yarn Co., which, as y'all know, is one of my favorite yarns. And they have an absolutely lovely fingering weight base, which is called their Sunday Morning 4-ply. And it is a 75% BFL, 25% Masson mix. And it just takes the dye incredibly beautifully. So Melissa put together some kits that were multiple options of color spectrums, and one of them was the original colors, very close to them in their colors there at Sonder. So I did already have a few of the colors which Sonder very kindly gifted to me, and I am just so excited to get this cast on. So I wasn't really sure when I was going to make it. I knew I wanted to make it immediately, but, you know, maybe not today. Sometime soon, though. And Mia from Knit and Grace and Haley from the Knit Weekend, they were like, we're doing it, we're casting it on. And then Taji from Tangles and Starlight was like, I'm in. And then they talked me into casting it on as well. So we're doing like a little mini knit along, like very mini, like the 4 of us. And we're just going to knit this together because we're super excited and we all really love it and we all really want it. And so I think our plan is to cast on maybe next week. The week of December 11th, I think, is our goal to cast on. And we're all using different yarn, and I'm going to be using this color palette. This is going to be my main color. And then these are going to be all of my contrast colors. So I have Dirty Weekend as my main color. And then I got Under the Duvet, Toast and Honey, breathe easy and offline. So these are my 5 colors. All right, my next accessory pattern is one that I hadn't really been planning on knitting, but spur of the moment, I started seeing it, and every time I saw it, I just really, really liked it. Now, I am a huge neutral lover, and to me, neutrals don't have to mean creamy white colors, but instead it can mean anything earthy. Just anything earthy, even those moody colors, even if they're dark, I still find those to be neutrals, and I love them. However, I think a great place to have a fun pop of color is in an accessory. Whenever I saw Caitlin Wynn, I believe is her last name, had designed this pattern for Wandering Flock, I knew I needed to knit it. So this is called the Yin Scarf Wrap, and I really want to make the wrap version. So this is knit in a worsted weight yarn, which is recommended for the Wandering Flock worsted base. And you use a US 6 and a US 4. The wrap, which is the size I want to make, has a finished measurement of 96 inches long by 16 inches wide. The scarf is another option, and it has a finished measurement of 86 inches long by 11 inches wide. So this is knit in brioche, and I love knitting brioche. I find it so fun and engaging, but I don't find it difficult at all, which I think is a combo that makes for a very fun knitting experience. So I loved the original so much because I had been trying to figure out how to incorporate some of these colors together. I, of course, absolutely loved the Wandering Flock's rust base, but I also really, really loved the Electric Orchid, and I wanted to knit something putting the two of these together because I think it's an unexpected and fun mixture, but I wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure how to do that, and I went down many roads mentally of thinking different garments and thinking, but would I wear it? And it's an investment to use this yarn, worth it 100%, but I didn't want to get it just to get it and then make something and not wear it. So when I saw this wrap, I thought it was perfect, absolutely perfect. And it's just so fun together. So this is a 100% superwash extra fine merino, and let me just tell you, it is soft, but it is so bouncy. It is so full and plump and fluffy, and I am going to be using these colors together. I think this is so much fun. So this is Dusty Blue, this is Icy Lavender, Electric Orchid, and then the main color that's carried throughout is Rust, and you use 3 of these, and then you got 1 of each of these contrast colors. So I'm very excited to get that cast on. I also snagged one of these super fun holographic needle gauges. Cute holographic sheepy. I love it. I love super fun things like this. I just don't usually include them in my wardrobe. So whenever I have a chance to put them in accessories or little tools that I can use with my knitting or my cups or just anything like that, I jump on it because I love it. I don't really like to wear it, but I love to have it in my life. So I think it's super fun. I think that's going to be a really great way to get some brioche in and have a worsted weight gauge that is going to knit up a lot faster and get my really fun colors in. So I'm very excited to get that started. All right, I have 2 other sort of accessories that I'm really wanting to get busy on along with all the others. But first of all is a pair of socks. So I actually have like 4 or 5 skeins of nomadic yarns, self-strapping sock yarn, and I love it. I'm obsessed with the yak base from Nomadic Yarns, but I really need to use it. I mean, I've got them just sitting there, and I love the colors, and I'm always looking at it, and I want to buy more, and I'm like, I need to knit up what I have. So I pulled out one of the skeins, and this one is Most Ardently, which is from the Pride and Prejudice colors. I love it so much. And I think what I would like to do is just make a fully ribbed sock, cuff down, simple as possible, 64 stitches. I'm not going to think too much about it. I'm just going to make me a pair of those socks, have it on the go, and I actually have enough that I can make one of my kiddos a pair of socks with the rest of this that I don't use as well. I may use the Andrea Mowry everyday sock pattern for that one. If I do, that is of course toe up, and that'll be fine. Otherwise, I will probably use Emily's favorite socks, which is cuff down. The other accessory that I really want to get going on is a hat, and it is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter from Boyland Knitworks. So this hat is called the Sacred Sheep hat, and it is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter from Boyland Knitworks. I did actually get a kit for it, and it is a worsted weight pattern, and I am using the original colors. So you have a ton of different options with this hat. You can make it single fold, double fold, no fold. I am going to do it single fold. It just doesn't get that cold here. It really doesn't. And every fold you add just makes it a little bit hotter and sweatier on your head. So a couple weeks ago, I had cast this on. I don't remember when it was released. I had cast this on, and I had started working on the brim, and that's as far as I got. I haven't touched it in a long time. But this is a really lovely, squishy, worsted weight, almost Aran weight yarn. But I'm going to go with worsted. And I think that the color work in this hat is beautiful. So I'll be doing the brim in that orangey red color. And then this is what the color work portion, or the crown and actual body of the hat, will be knit in. I think it's so beautiful. It has such a lovely, fun color work pattern on it. And I think not only is it going to be fun to knit, but it's going to be a really awesome statement piece to have. All right, before we get into the garments, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video. Hey Happiness is a really lovely jewelry company that actually got its name because they want to bring a little bit of happiness to everyone's life. A super great way to spark a little bit of joy is whenever you're picking out some of your favorite jewelry and putting it on for the day. Hey Happiness jewelry is special because they make sure that it is heavily tested so that it's free of lead, nickel, and cadmium content. While having clean and safe jewelry, they are still able to make absolutely beautiful and special pieces. I picked out a few fun pieces for myself this time, including this really lovely gold snake chain bracelet. I love how even though it's simple, it can still make a really lovely statement. It's stainless steel and 18 karat gold plated. I also got to pick out this lovely ginkgo leaf pendant necklace. I love how I can get that nature-inspired look, but still have the elegance of the gold. And then the last piece I picked out were the ginkgo leaf stud earrings. If you would like to try the Hey Happiness jewelry, simply insert the code YoungFolkKnits at checkout from now through December 31st. They are also adding surprise gifts with your order. If you spend 39 euros, they will add 1 surprise gift. 79 euros, you get 2. And if you spend 109 euros, they are going to be adding 3 surprise gifts to your order. So thank you so much, Hey Happiness, for being the sponsor of today's video. All right, y'all, let's talk about some garments that I would love to get a chance to knit this winter. Jumping into garments, One of the very first Lana magazines I really remember buying because of a specific pattern I wanted to make so badly is the issue from winter 2020. And this is number 10? And first of all, if you don't have this issue, it's such a great issue. But the pattern that I got this for specifically was the Snowy Forest sweater or pullover. I absolutely fell in love with those big chunky cables, that big beautiful collar, just everything about it. So when this first came out and I first decided to make it, I actually got yarn to make a darker version. So I got some really lovely, very moody, stormy blue with a bit of a gray undertone, just really deep stormy blue. Madeline Tosh. They very sweetly dyed some up for me. Yes, it is their absolutely lovely sport weight base. And it is 270 yards of, let's see, is it superwash? Yes, 100% superwash merino wool. Merino wool. It's absolutely lovely. This is the color Fog. And then I got some Cumulus by Fiberspace Surrey in one of their stormy blue colors to hold with this, and that was my plan to make a Snowy Forest sweater. Well, it was sort of one thing after another. I never ended up casting it on. And then Megan from Kimchi & Co. made a version using an absolutely lovely color called, was it June? Let me see. Driftwood. She made a lovely version in Driftwood from Wandering Flock on their worsted base. It is a 100% superwash extra fine merino as well. And when I saw her version, I was really, really drawn to the light color, showing off the cables, the creamy, yummy coziness of it. And I think that it really makes a great top for both winter and spring whenever you use a nice creamy white color. Now this is definitely not white. It has a really warm beige undertone, and then it has these really pretty, very light speckles of blues and even some rusty oranges in there. So I think I really want to make one in this color. I absolutely still want to make one in this color. I don't even know which one I would like more, so I think I need both of them. The absolutely great thing about this pattern, let me pull it back up, is that you are using, let's see, worsted weight yarn, and you're using 10.75 needles or 7mm needles. I think that what's great about those worsted weight patterns, those high gauge patterns, is that you are putting in less effort for a high yield result. And I love that. Sometimes you need a win, and I think this is going to be really fun. So that is one plan. Another thing that I am so excited about is something I have been wanting to make for a while, but I kept putting it off for different reasons. And that is a cumulus blouse by Petite Knit, knit up in a boucle DK weight yarn. So I've seen quite a few of these. One is Emily from Gently Chaotic Knits, and then Maya from What Maya Made, and I believe Jess Pobenmeyer from Shop La Mercerie. I think they all made one, and I know they're not the only ones. Who else made one? I loved it, and I actually saw it in person at Rhinebeck whenever Emily was wearing hers. Now, I think I saw Maya wearing hers as well. And I was seeing that my girl Sarah, who owns Craft Me Not Yarn Co. and one of my absolute favorite dyers, period, she had started carrying a DK bouquet yarn. Y'all, she helped me pick out the honeycomb color and dyed me up enough to make my own cumulus blouse. So I've already got it caked up and I cast it on and I had started knitting the back, and I decided that I actually want to go down a size from what I had cast on because I knew that my gauge was going to be bigger than the patterns. I decided not to swatch because I just wanted a comfort knit. And I do want this to be oversized, but that was going to be really oversized. So I ripped it back out, and I'm going to start over, and I'm going to go down a size on what I would normally knit. So I got 5 of these, and I have a feeling I may not use one of them, but I wanted to have enough so that I could not have to worry about shortening either sleeves or body. I wanted to make it as long as I wanted to have a comfy, big, oversized sweater and for it to be all the things that I want. This is softness overload. Okay, so this is 100% superwash merino, which means that not only is it soft and fluffy and dreamy, but it takes the dye beautifully. It's a gorgeous, just extremely gorgeous saturated color. So this is going to be a very fun knit. It may be a background knit in the sense that I'm not on a deadline to finish it. I may just be able to work on it as I can, but I will finish this because I want it. I want it badly. So thank you, Sarah, for letting me order this yarn. I absolutely love it. Another pattern that y'all have heard me talk about for like 3 years is the Andrea Mowry cardigan called the Winter's Beach Cardi. Absolutely love it, and I would love to get this knit up at some point someday. So I got some yarn from Taylor, who has the Wool Needles Hands podcast, but she also has the Fiber for the People yarn dyeing company. And she hand dyes just these really beautiful colorways. They're definitely my colorways. They're super moody and earthy and lovely. And she started getting this special base, which is called her Born, Shorn, and Dyed base. So it is a collection in a collaboration between Lovely Valley Wool. It is a 100% Nevada Merino and Rambouillet. And it's, you know, made in these small batches, and then Taylor from Fiber for the People is dyeing it. So you get 350 yards of this sport weight yarn in these 100 gram skeins, and it's so amazing. It's so soft. I mean, Rambouillet and Merino, oh, come on. Is there anything else so soft in the world? Probably not. It's amazing. But yet it still feels, you know, it just feels so sheepy and not scratchy at all. And I got this really fun cognac color. I really like this sort of rusty brown. And my plan is to use it to make a Winter's Beach Cardi. When am I going to get to make it? I'm not sure. But it is a plan to make it at some point, and I would love to make it this winter. We'll see. So if you've been here before, then you know that I am currently working on spinning up this colorway, which is from 316 Dye Studio, and it is the color Cinder and Smoke. So this is a merino alpaca camel silk blend, and I have got a few braids of this that I am spinning up to ply with itself. And that is going to be the contrast color for my Pressed Flowers cardigan. But I did decide I loved this color so much that I wanted to get its sort of sister complement partner. It's coordinating color, and that is the Himalayan Sea Salt colorway. And it is on the exact same base. And she sort of made these to be able to spin up and ply together. And I love it. I think it's going to be amazing. So I have one of each of these to spin up and ply together for a shawl. And I think that it would make a really lovely brioche shawl or garter shawl, something to show, I don't know, something squishy to really show off these lovely color changing shifts that it will make. It's definitely going to be some very small color changes. It's not going to be super stripy because it's a very blended fiber. Another spin that I really want to do, I'm sorry, I should have taken this out of the plastic, is this absolutely gorgeous Desert Panda Fiber Arts Romance colorway. So this is 6 whole ounces of pure beauty. Look at the color shift. So you start here. Oh my goodness. This is as well a merino alpaca camel mulberry silk blend. So it's sort of a, a very common luxury fiber blend. And it's not the funnest on my hands to spin, but it is just amazing the way that it takes the dye. I would like to split this into some very small pieces and spin them and ply them so that I get a really nice blend of the colors. And I think that this would make a gorgeous contrast color for the shawl, the Cinnabar shawl by Andrea Mowry. Any of those shawls like that, I really want to get all of my fiber spun up into skeins so that I'm ready to start getting them into some shawls. I think that would be absolutely lovely. Last but not least, I want to share a sewing plan that I've got. So I do have a lot of linen. I absolutely love linen. It's my favorite fabric, not only to sew with, but also to wear. So I think I'm going to be wearing a lot of linen this spring, summer, even fall. I love it. I wanted to focus on something very winter specific to me though. Fall also, but definitely fall and winter. And that is some stretch corduroy that I have really been enjoying both wearing and working with. So I recently made a pair of free range slacks from some stretch corduroy that I got from Blackbird Fabrics. And I made a few mistakes, a few things about the fit that I wasn't super happy with. I am happy with them in general, but I decided to cut out another pair in the straight leg version and size down quite a bit. So I also want to make a pair in this chocolate brown color. So that is another goal. I want to get some of that cut out and get another pair of corduroy pants made up. There's so many other things that I am just sort of things I would really like to make, and some of these things may not happen this year, but I do hope that they happen at some point. I'd love to hear something that you are really excited to work on this winter. If you've already got a plan for something, let me know in the comments what you're hoping to make, and I'd love to hear about it. Don't forget that the I Can Buy Myself Flowers knit along is still going on Instagram, so be sure and jump in and join us. You still have time. It runs through the end of January. So you got lots of time to pick out one of those lovely pressed flowers patterns and join in the knitting fun with us. If you enjoy videos like this, then make sure and give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any future video content. It also helps my channel so much whenever y'all do that and whenever you leave me a comment. So just know how much I appreciate you being here and being part of the Young Folk Knits community. It means a lot to me. Until next time, happy knitting, y'all.